So, the girls have just devised that game together. We're on to chapter 28. Millie's sulking again. Look at that tail, look at that tail. Oh, she's stopped. So let's see how where the story goes from here. We're going to go back into the dream. Are we going to see the girls developing their game? I really like the way this story has evolved. I gasp when I see the house this time. The cracks in the walls have grown. They start small like at the top of a tree and steadily get bigger, like the large base of an oak. Gouges cluster in every corner, and the branches desperately try to hold the house together, crawling over the photo frames, wrapping themselves round the walls protectively. They wriggle like worms or fingers on a giant hand. But the house is more branch than wall now. Flowers bloom from every corner with all their memories I now have of Mum. But even as they bloom, the house is dying. The walls have lost great big chunks, the sunlight streaming inside it, throwing strands of light into the foyer. The glass table in the middle of it is cracked, and the rest of the furniture looks old, like it's been abandoned for years. The plants that create a canopy above the hallway droop, and I'm forced to push them aside to move from room to room. They look like they're bound to me, but the truth is they're dying. I can still hear the house's heartbeat, though it's faint. Thump, pause, thump, thump, pause. I can't help but feel like the house is warning me. It's telling me that I'm running out of time to save Mum, to collect all her memories. Despite the fact that the walls are crumbling, the door to Mum's room stays firmly shut. The wood is splintered in places once more, but only enough for me to peer through. I do, and catch my second glimpse of grown-up Mum. I had worried that perhaps I had imagined her there. I step back from it before I get sucked in completely. I don't want to get sidetracked again. Who knows what might happen if I do? I end up back in the kitchen, a trail of fallen debris leading me there. A chair in the corner of the room glows, and so I sit in it and wait. "Where have you been?" my grandmother demands. "Why are you wearing my dress? And what is that in your hands?" Aminah turns to Mama, clearly surprised to see her there in the middle of the night. As she steps into the light, I can see that she's wearing the mermaid dress, except it looks far too big on her, because it belongs to her mother, I suppose. "Just outside," Aminah says, shrugging. She's trying to act casual, but her voice is shaking. Mama raises her eyebrows. "Don't insult me, Aminah. You're trying to tell me you dressed in my clothes just to go into the courtyard?" Aminah nods. It was the truth, after all. Mama steps towards her. In the harsh light of the kitchen, her skin glows like a wizard, whose powers are charged, ready to strike. "Don't lie to me." Mama's eyes are fire, and her voice is ice. And I could swear just then that the branches shrivel back and hiss in fear. They slither away from Mama like snakes along the wall, leaving Aminah to fend for herself. "I'm not," she insists. I want so much to tell my grandmother that Mum is telling the truth, just not all of it. "What is this?" Mama asks again, snatching what is in Aminah's hands, a book of fairy tales. She opens it up and reads something on the first page. "What does this mean? Move to England." I stand up, walk over to them and look at the inscription myself. August 1989. "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. I'll miss you when you move to England, but I know we'll always be friends. Love you always, R." "Explain," Mama says. "Now." The three syllables ricochet off the walls and ring around the room like angry bells. But Aminah doesn't speak. I'm not sure if she's too scared to talk or if she's not sure what to say, but all too quickly, Mama fills the silence. "I found the photos in your sister's room. Did you make her hide them for you?" "What do you mean?" Aminah looks confused, but I know exactly what Mama is talking about, because this is the argument Zaina warned me about. Mama grabs a box from the table and shoves it into Aminah's arms. Aminah removes the lid and looks through reams and reams of photos. Aminah and Rohan rehearsing with the others over the course of several evenings. Aminah and Rohan in their secret hideaway alone. I lean over and look at them all too. "I will ask you one more time, and this time no lying. Where have you been, and what does this Mean. She frowns down at the book like it's cursed. Maybe for her it is. Aminah sighs and tells the truth. She tells Mama about the play, about Rowan and the others. Why? Mama asks simply. Because I enjoy it, and Aminah looks down at her feet. I want to go to school abroad. Mama holds her free hand out to stop Aminah from speaking, as if the very action could halt the words that have already tumbled out of her mouth. No, she says, shaking her head. No. The silver branches are awake. They sway to and fro, watching over Aminah and Mama. The pair now sit at the kitchen table and Aminah explains everything. There's an exchange programme. She could finish school in England and go to university there too. Her grades are good enough, more than good enough. Mama shakes her head. This is ridiculous. How are you supposed to look after yourself? It's a boarding school. You live with the other students and enough, Mama says. I'm not listening to this. You're not going to school and you're not doing this play. Why not? Aminah demands, standing up all of a sudden. The chair flies backwards, bouncing across the room. You can't just make up the rules. You need a reason for them. The silver branches hiss as if they're trying to warn Aminah. And you need to learn to control your temper, Mama says, her voice just as loud. I realise now that this is where the monster was born. Here, in this room. The silver branches try to protect the house. They surround the walls and cover the windows with their claw-like limbs. But the monster's too strong. The window breaks, glass shatters across the room, and a great black fog surrounds Aminah and Mama, threatening to swallow them up. It's so thick, I feel I might suffocate. Like you? Aminah says. Baba has already said yes, by the way. I spoke to him. This seems to throw Mama off guard. What would he know? She spits. He's never here. Maybe because he doesn't want to be around you. Aminah stomps about like she's a 3-year-old and her favourite toy's been taken away. Don't speak to me like that, Mama says. I've had enough of this conversation. Go to bed. That's what you do, isn't it? Aminah sneers. When you don't want to have a conversation, you send us to bed. Well, I'm not a child. I can go to bed whenever I like and I will keep acting in the play and go to England no matter what you say. You will not, Mama says, though she seems to have lost her conviction. I know what I'm talking about. Aminah raises her eyebrows. Really? All you did was get married. You've never had a job. You haven't done anything with your life, so you want to stop me living mine. The light in Mama's eyes has disappeared, and a sad grey cloud replaces it, like the smoke that lingers after a fire dies. But Aminah doesn't stop there, no matter how much I try to grab onto her and tell her to, because I've made the same mistake before. Or I suppose after. Aminah is seeing the parallels between her argument with Mum and Aminah's argument with Mama. I didn't care that Mum was upset. I was too angry, so I kept pushing. And so does Aminah. I can't wait to go away, and I never have to see you again, she says. Mama's crying now, and it's like cracking an egg. It's shell-hard and firm, only to find a soft yolk in the middle. She opens her mouth to speak, but no words come out. Instead, she sweeps past Aminah and up the stairs, her perfume, anger and hurt lingering in the room after her. Aminah sits there triumphantly. Fog fills the room until all I can see is black. It crawls up my nostrils, down my throat and underneath my fingernails. When I wake up in the hospital, I swear the fog hovers around Mum's bed, following me down the hall and all the way home. So, we've always wondered quite what the purpose of these dreams are. Obviously, we think they're to save Mama, but I feel like there must be a learning reason for Safia, and to me we found it. That argument that Ami has just had with her mother is a big argument, and it's very comparable to Saf's argument with her mum. Is this going to teach Saf something? Is she going to learn from this? Is this the reason? What do you think? Right, well, Millie seems slightly chirpier, and we'll go on to chapter 29.